Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Metal Magdalene with Jet right here on Metal Messiah Radio. Tonight we have with us our guest, Mr. Jeramie Kling, to talk about his band, The Absence, and a few other projects. So welcome to the show, Jeramie.
Hey, thanks for having me, Jet.
So, Jeramie, before we talk about the band, tell us a little bit about yourself for all our little drummer friends. When did you first start to become interested in playing drums, and were the drums the first instrument you played?
Well, my dad started me at about 2 years old, 3 years old. He had a drum set around, and he's a guitar player. And my brother's 6 years older than me, and he played drums as well. So we always just had musical instruments around my entire life, and it was pretty much like a facet of the house. Like, it was just music, you know, kind of like how my kids are growing up. Like, music's everywhere. Mm-hmm. They don't really have an escape from it, which is pretty rad. I was having dinner last night with some friends, and my kids were around, and my son's 10, and people were talking about, like, one-man bands and whatnot. My son's like, oh, yeah, I know a one-man band. He plays guitar, drums, keyboards, and sings. His name is Dan the Swano. And, you know, that's pretty fucked up for a 10-year-old to know that. but you know what I mean? Like, music is around, so I mean, it's just a bit different. So that's kind of like what I grew up with. My brother and I always played music, and yeah, it was always drums. It was never anything else. Never. I mean, I tried to kick around a guitar a little bit when I was a teenager, but I was just always so much better at drums, where it was like, well, let's stick with what we're good at here.
And Jeramie, who were some of your early inspirations that kind of helped you along forming your own style of playing?
For sure, my brother. Absolutely. My brother-in-law is married to my sister. He's in a band called Tear. We're actually playing with him this coming Saturday. Well, that's the 20th. I don't know when. Anyways, we're playing with them, but they're like a melodic power rock band, and I used to watch them a lot growing up. I mean, like 9, 10, 11, 12. It's actually where I first met Ralph Santala. He's buddies with all those guys. Mm-hmm. They would just be hanging out and just doing the band thing, and it made me go, yeah, I need to be in a band. This is really rad. All these guys are getting down and just, you know, vibing together. It's pretty sick.
So, I mean, for you personally, did you ever go out, like, take any formal lessons, or do you just no?
Yeah, I mean, I took some lessons when I worked at AJ's Pro Percussion when I was 20, down in Tampa, and there was a guy named Jerry Watkins that worked there, and he really helped me out with rudiments. That's when I started, like, paying attention to any of that stuff. Up until then, it was just kind of like just some free-form shit that just, whatever I picked up from watching people, like, I mean, going back to your question, you're asking who else kind of helped mold me. I mean, as far as death metal goes, you know, Steve from Deicide for sure. Like, I would watch videos of that dude playing, and I would be like, I don't know how the hell he is doing that. And I would just try and imitate that the best I could. Same thing with Pete Sandoval. And I also liked a lot of groove drummers like Tim from Primus and Abe from Deftones. You know, I got into a lot of groove, which is completely transparent if you listen to anything that I play on. It's almost like a carbon copy at times, but you know, that's what influence is. Flattery, imitation is the highest form of flattery, so there it is.
That's what they say. Now, what was the first, like, up on stage, playing in front of people band that you were in? What kind of music did you play?
I was in 4th grade, so I was like 9 years old, and I remember I went into school, I was in a music class, and I told the teacher that I could play the drums, and she was like, oh, cool, and she handed me, like, those clave sticks or whatever, and I was like, no, I was like, I can actually play, like, a drum set. And she was like, oh, wow, really? Yeah. So she gave me that song, In the Jungle. I can't remember the exact name of the song. The Mighty Jungle.
Sure.
That song. And I played along to that, and I did a recital in the morning, in the afternoon, and then again at nighttime for the rest of the parents and everybody came to the recital. And I played alone. I just played the drums along to that track, and I just made up my own drum beats to go along with it. So it was basically my first performance that I had done up on stage, which is pretty cool.
So, Jeramie, okay, so now we got a little background on you. So what was, like, your first serious band that you were in then?
I played in a band when I was 16 called Dresden. It was pretty serious to, all of us guys then. Much like anything is when you're 16, it's like, it's the bee's knees. We played a whole bunch. I started cutting my teeth there, and then I joined this band called, I started this band Continue to Fall. And I was doing Continue to Fall clear up until I joined the Absence. As a matter of fact, I was doing both of those bands at the same time for about, I don't know, maybe like 3-4 months, maybe max. And then it was like, wow, I mean, obviously the Absence is exactly what I want to be doing in life right now. So I just, I quit one and I just focused all my energies on that. So that was about 20. I would say the reality is when it first started getting really serious was, the first show with the Absence there. Everything just kind of like, the cogs of the clock all fell into line and everything just fit. And it was like, yeah, this is what needs to be happening right now. This is something serious. This is real.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about the Absence too. So you came in fairly early in the band, right?
Yeah, Pete and I we had been jamming together. The Absence was a band already, but it was an entirely different, it was a different feel,
Mm-hmm.
It was like a totally different feel. And then Pete and I were doing sort of like that Gothenburg kind of vibe, and, the established Absence had some Swedish vibes to it. When we all joined forces, it basically formed like, it for sure formed what the Absence is and what it became. So I mean, the band basically started all at the same time, but they had played shows before as the Absence. Actually pretty killer shows with Mastodon and which guys play with? Okay. Anyways, so at any rate, very, very fairly early on. I mean, like 2004. Yeah.
So what's...
They play with Graves too, which is pretty killer.
So what now is the current lineup of the band?
The current lineup is myself, Jamie Still, a singer, Joey Concepcion, the guitar player, and Taylor Norberg is the other guitar player. We have a buddy of ours filling in on bass because Mike is still teetering if he's still flirting with the idea if he's going to be able to play shows or be with us or not, because of course he's out with Soulfly right now, kicking some ass.
Right.
So we're all super proud of him. So the four of us are rock solid. We have a guy who is in line who's doing these. We have some, like I said, we have some shows coming up. He's doing those with us, and that may pan out to be a permanent fixture, or Mike, or we don't really know. The bass is kind of up in the air.
So you said Joey's with you there right now?
Yep, Joey's here right now.
Okay, so Joey, what made you decide that you wanted to get mixed up with all these guys?
Well, I've been a fan of the band for a while, and I knew who they were, and I liked their music. And just one day on Facebook, I got a message from Jeramie. I don't remember how he saw me, but I guess he saw me on Facebook just because we were friends. I've been a fan of the band, so I added him, and he just said, "Hey, man, the Absence is looking for a guitar player, and is that something that takes your interest?" So I was like, "Yeah, I would love to audition." So I came down here to Florida from Connecticut in February, and we instantly just hooked. This is the style of music I've always wanted to play, melodic death metal, like the whole Gothenburg thing.
Mm-hmm.
Too, so it was a natural fit.
Now, what were you doing before you were in the Absence?
I played in a bunch of a lot of Connecticut local bands. I'm still in another band too called Armageddon,
Mm-hmm.
and that's with Christopher Amott from Arch Enemy,
Mm-hmm.
and that's my other band. And before the Absence, I was in this band called Dead by Wednesday.
Sure.
We just put out an album on EMP Records, David Ellison's new label.
Right.
That's a couple of the things. When I was about 17, I started working with a vocalist called Michael Becerra. He sang on a couple Ingrid Malmsteen records, and that guy he really got my career going in the beginning.
And so how do you think you guys, how you're fitting in with the guys now? Do you feel pretty comfortable with playing with the guys in the absence now?
Yeah, it's really almost seems too good to be true. We're all like on the same page, and we really enjoy what we're doing, and there's a connection, and we're all looking to do the same thing and have the same goal.
Yeah, it's an overflow of outward positivity, and yeah, like Joey said, the connection is just pretty unreal. You know, I would have to say it's the strongest that I've felt that the absence has been live, and I know that I just don't speak for myself in the band. It just really feels like a solid thing.
A different band than all the rest possible.
Okay, so hey, you guys just released a single, Septic Testament, and so I assume you're working on another album to follow that up?
Yes, we are.
Okay, so what can you tell us about that album? Now, first of all, how you approached it musically, and then maybe we could talk to your singer to tell us how he approached it lyrically. So how did you approach this one musically?
Well, I really was okay. Well, when we recorded Riders, like most 23-year-olds, I was really fucking pissed off about, you know, the world and everything and blah, 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 and very angsty. I attacked this record on drums the same way that I attacked Riders. I remember my same exact mind frame. I remember the aggression that I was at. And I really just went ahead and I channeled that younger angsty. Because, I mean, we've been doing it for so many years now, 12 years now, but we're still hungry, which is killer, which I'm really, it's nice to even be able to say that and be honest about that, and not be like, yeah, we're still hungry to get out there and do it. Like, no, like, for real, like, I mean, it's great. It's really great. So I went into it, I was trying to, like, destroy my drums, like I've been fortunate enough to be able to work with Sepultura on a personal basis. I tour managed for those guys, and I've got to watch Eloy play drums every night, and that guy is just a fucking maniac behind the drum set, and it's highly inspirational for me, because, I mean, he hits the drums, and when he hits them, you not only feel it, but they sing. They have a different character, rather than if you're just, you know, lightly hitting the drums. So I really tried to channel that kind of energy into this tracking of the new record, which all the drums are done. We have 12 songs. I think that 11 are going to make it onto the album. Yeah, they're really great. It's along the lines of like Riders of the Plague as far as intensity goes. Mm-hmm. Very much, you can hear it. You'll be able to hear it. It's very pissed off still. Sort of like Septic, you can hear it. It's pissed off. I mean, you can tell we've matured, which is also really, really a great thing. We've matured as musicians. You know, we're more seasoned now. We've been doing it for a long time. But the intensity is still there. Same thing with the guitars. All the guitars have been tracked for the rhythms, and those sound equally on par with aggression and tone. And we've really spared no expense when it comes to time and spending on this to have a desired result, which is, you know, a great record in the end.
Okay, so Jeramie, how did you approach it lyrically then?
You know, I used a lot of personal, obvious, I always write from a personal standpoint, but I tried to get as personal as possible, but without whining about it, without, you know, just complaining or venting with no endpoint to be seen, you know. I always try to have, even if it's coming from a dark place, a positive, a positive apex to the whole thing, you know. It's like it might be like the whole, almost 85% of it seems really negative, but by the time you get to the end, there's a light at the end of the tunnel kind of thing. So, a lot of personal experience with things that have happened within the band. Definitely
not necessarily from a lyrical standpoint, but just like Jeramie said, just an anger standpoint. I always tend to be pretty angry when I'm writing lyrics for anything. And, you know, somebody asked me one time if I felt like, just a direct quote, if I felt like a moron still screaming on stage, or if I felt stupid at the age I'm at, still screaming on stage. And it was answered with a resounding no, because I still have something to be pissed off about, you know. I think everybody does in their own way, but, you know, like Septic is probably the most personal thing I've ever written lyrically, and it's not necessarily about myself. It's about somebody that is one of my best friends and very close to me, and who had something happen to them in their life, and who I was there to bear witness and be part of that in some certain forms or fashions. Yeah, you know, to step outside myself and to be like, hey, I want to write a song about this. It's like, well, what about this viewpoint or this experience? Or, you know, I've never done that before. It's always from my own experience. And in a way it is. It's more like a fly on the wall kind of thing. But when you're that, you know, on the level with somebody and you care that much about somebody and you've been involved in each other's lives for so long to the point where you are actually family, you know, it hurts almost as bad just to see that and to see how it affects that person and how it just drives them, you know, up the wall. So that song in itself is probably the most intense thing I've ever written, I think. But yeah, I mean, the whole album lyrically has come from that. Like I said, just personal inner band experiences from throughout the years, and just remember, you know, old wounds, you know. You know, just kind of, you know, when you get a scar, you know, it never really goes away. In certain situations, you know, you might get a reswelling of that scar. So certain songs kind of resurface certain memories and stuff. So that was a big inspiration. But also, you know, just life in general. That's always what I seem to write about. Never getting too political or too this or that. You know, it's always from a personal level, from just something that, you know, everybody can relate to.
Yeah, very much open to interpretation, I would say.
Also, yeah, absolutely.
So, okay, so I'm getting then from both of you guys, from both a musical and lyrical point of view coming from the band, that this is going to be one angry record we got coming out here.
Oh, fuck yeah. Yeah. I mean, in the end, we're playing death metal.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's be honest, you know.
if you're making, I mean, you can have, you know, and there are, you know, very breathtaking sections to this music where, you know, that was always my favorite thing about bands like Carcass and At the Gates and a lot of those melodic death metal bands, where it's beautifully disgusting to where, you know, you have these parts where, yeah, the music's heavy, but then somebody comes in with just this, like, really awesome melody that just kind of sweeps you off your feet. And then you have somebody like Jeff Walker or Thomas Lindbergh or, you know, even like Dan Swano and Edge of Sanity. Some of that stuff gets really melodic where you're like, oh, man, that's freaking, you know. That's the sweet and the salt at the same time, you know, like.
Yeah. And who doesn't love sweet and sour chicken? You know?
Somebody else. I don't want to be.
So, do you guys have any label backing on this? Are you looking for one or anything like that?
We got a few interests that are peaked. Septic made a decent splash here, and we've made a lot of friends in the industry, you know, throughout the years, and we got some good help, which is we're very, very fortunate for. So, you know, it's kind of at the hush hush stage right now. Yeah, it's looking good. We're doing everything on our own, anyways, tracking it in my studio. So, which is rad. And yeah, it's nice that we were able to do that. You know, obviously, home studios have made it much easier for bands to, you know, kind of cut out a middleman here.
Now, you know, you guys, the last full length was released 6 years ago. So, do you feel a little pressure from fans and people when you were making this one?
No, because the music will speak for itself. Anyways, I don't feel like there's a resounding resounding pressure that's built up or building or anything like that. I mean, we're all very, very confident in the music. It all will speak for itself. Septic was a foot forward as a, hi, this is where we are at, this is where it's going, and it's very much a telltale of what the record is going to sound like. I know that we had put out Oceans a few years back, and it was more of like a laid-back vibe, and we all really loved that song. I mean, it was very much a part of where we were at that moment in time. But this Septic and Septic Testament and the rest of the record is going to be a reemergence. I don't want to say back to like the roots of it, because that just even sounds silly, but it's very much aggressive. Mm-hmm. Very much aggressive.
Now, the artwork that you guys released along with this single, will that be the album artwork as well, or are you going to have something different?
I think we're going to work with the same artist.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler from Voidscape. He's really a talented guy. I think that's just going to be a specific single work design. I can't say anything until the end result, but
right.
To be sure. But yeah, I think we're going to be working with him anyways in the future. So it'll be similar. I mean, because it's a really cool brand vibe. I think it's already being established. Like this whole rebranding has been really a great. It's been a great reemergence back into the waters. Like you said. I mean, it's been 6 years, so it's been a while. I mean, we put out Oceans, I think, in 2013. I mean, even still, since that single, it's been forever. So,
now, have you played the new single out live yet?
Nope. Our first show is on the tomorrow.
It's on the tomorrow.
18th.
First time for a few songs.
Yeah.
So I know you haven't played it out, but it's been released on media sites. What have some of the early reactions been to the music?
Well, I mean, just from an actual, like, literal example, Summer Slaughter was just in Tampa, and Jeramie was down at the show hanging out, and I got down there a little later and got dropped off down the road to say what's up to somebody, and then just walking down the street, which was, I would say, probably about 4 blocks. In the time to walk 4 blocks, I think I had like 5 or 6 people just walking on either side of the street, like scream out, "Jamie, Septic Testament rules, all rules," throwing the horns, and everybody obviously just came from a death metal show, so there was plenty of death metal people out and about and stuff like that. But that was kind of a cool. I think it had been out for 2 weeks at that point, give or take.
Yeah. I was in the line at what he was saying. I was at Summer Slaughter, and I was in the line at the bathroom, just standing in the queue, and the dude in front of me was like, "Dude, the new single's so fucking killer! Congratulations!" And it was like, "Yeah, dude, all right.
I hope you watched your.
I hope you
watched." So those are some great testaments right there. You got testaments from the bathroom, from on the street, and these are the real people. These aren't the armchair people sitting on Facebook, can't wait to pick you apart and stuff. Although I gotta say, even from the stuff that I've read on social media, it all seems really super positive, and I've even read some things where people were kind of skeptical. You get a few members in, and everybody's all up in arms. But even they were like, after hearing the single, they're really excited to hear the rest of the album.
Which is really flattering and humbling, and it makes us all go, well, fuck yeah, dig in deeper and let's go,
Just wait, because Septic's a really great song, and it could very well be the best song out of all these new songs.
Subjectively, right?
Exactly.
Yep.
To each their own. We're all obviously thoroughly involved and rooted in this, so it's really hard to kind of pick it out to where you're like, oh, what's your favorite? You're like, I don't know, like the whole thing. But all I can say is that if you like Septic Testament, then you're gonna love the new full length, because it's more of that and then some. There's some faster songs. There's some more groovier songs. A lot of melodies. The lead sections are brilliant.
Joey actually just recorded a lead the other day that is probably, the first 2 notes are most likely the the most possible sluttiest notes ever played by a human.
Instant pregnancy, like you hear it, you're instant
like oh fuck, I shouldn't have sat in this chair. Now I'm pregnant.
Yeah, you're on Maury Povich when the second you listen to those two songs, those two notes.
Okay, so now I'm kind of afraid to listen to those because I'm too old for that shit.
We're gonna sell the CD. It's gonna come with prophylactics and birth control
and a pregnancy test.
Yeah, pregnancy. But you're already pregnant, so.
Oh yeah, well, used pregnancy test.
Yeah, it'll be used. So don't worry about it.
And free tickets to the Maury show.
In the case of that lead section, the lie detector detected that was not a lie.
Har har. So can you guys tell us approximately when you would like to maybe get this released?
The first fiscal part of the year, so January, February, March, around there.
And if people want to learn more about the Absence, where's the best place to go? Facebook? Do you have any other sites?
We just keep it with the Facebook, man. I mean, there's Facebook, and we have a big cartel which we're selling Septic Testament T-shirts. We're doing a mini tour. Like I said, starting tomorrow, which I don't know when this airs, but we'll be out there. We'll be doing the damn thing. But yeah, Facebook is pretty much yeah.
And we do a pretty good job at rotating maintenance on that, since everybody obviously has the login information. So if there's any questions or any inquiries that anybody has about pretty much anything, feel free to drop us a message. We might not get to it right then and there, but it's usually within a day or two we can give some sort of answer back, or if somebody has a question and say there's a drum question and I happen to come across that message, I usually, we'll text the respective member and let them know that there is an inquiry waiting for them to be answered. So.
Okay, so then Facebook is probably the best place for people to go to find out more what's going on with the band, if you're going to pre-release any more songs, where you're playing out and all that kind of stuff.
For all things news-wise, pictures, all that kind of stuff, yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, so now, Jeramie, what are some of the other things that you're involved with and what's going on with them?
Well, I have Necromancing the Stone happening, which is a band that I have with James Malone from Arsis and Ryan Williams from, he used to play bass in Black Dahlia Murder, and Big John and Justin from Brimstone Coven. It's like kind of like a traditional metal with kind of like a Jim Morrison crooner singing vocal style happening on everything. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I got that going on, and then also I tour manage a bunch of bands. Like I'm going out with Scar Symmetry in September, tour managing them. I'm going out with Doro drum teching for those guys and girl. And I'm also going to head out with Death Angel at the last leg of the Slayer Anthrax tour. I'm going to be doing tour managing in front of house for those guys. And then Necromancing is actually hitting the road in November. I can't divulge any information as far as who is going to be on that tour yet, because it's not announced. But yeah, Necromancing will be out and about in November and December. And then, then next year is pretty much just booked up with Sepultura. I'll be out with those guys. We're doing a headline tour in Europe with Creator. A co-headline tour in Europe with Creator. And then we're going to do some one-offs and stuff, which is going to, take me clear up into springtime. And then they're also talking about doing another tour right after that, and then they have Summer Festival. So I'm going to be pretty damn busy coming up here soon.
So you're going to be keeping out of trouble. So again, all the bands that you heard mentioned tonight, all can be found on Facebook. And Jeramie, Jamie, Joey, that's a lot of freaking J's in one band, guys.
Oh, yeah. It's a lot. It's actually funny because Necromancing has James, Jeramie, Justin, John, and Ryan. So he told him he needed to put a J in front of his name, so he's Dryan or Jbart. But yes, there's also a lot of J's in the Absence as well, for sure.
So just thank you all you guys for coming on the show, telling us about what's going on with the band and your projects and stuff, and best of luck out there and all the best to all of you.
Hey, thanks for having us. Very cool.